Welcome to 20 Side Adventures. My name's Ryan. On this video, we're going to be talking about my tier list for casters. This is part of my Collegium series, so we'll be talking about all these different classes in various depths. And this is me tier listing ease of play and building for players. So if you're new to Pathfinder, this is a great video. And if you want to play a caster, to get an idea of the difficulty level of putting these characters together. Now, full disclosure, when I play, I very rarely play casters. They just really aren't my cup of tea. Really disliked them in Pathfinder 1. The Arcanist was the only one that felt kind of fun to play. I just didn't like the mechanics of casters. I think spells got significantly better in 2E and how they flow. So I've made some big bad guys that are casters and really have enjoyed it. When I GM, I very much make my main character bad guys just full-on PCs, build them just like a PC, and go from there. So this video is going to let me tier list how I think your difficulty level of building these characters are. Once again, guys, I appreciate all the likes and subs. The channel's been really taking off in the last month. Thanks to all of you for doing that and subbing. If you haven't, give me a like and a sub down below. Very much would appreciate it. And the last of the shilling is Beard Sorcery, and I thought I'd bring mine out because maybe you guys don't believe me that I actually use it. Picked these up about a month ago, saw an ad probably on the Facebooks or something like that, saw it was TTRPG centered, went to their website, had to try the Paladin one because Paladin was my first character, my favorite class. I don't think I played anything but Paladins for like most of my 20s. I branch out now and enjoy other things when I get to play, but if you would like an item bonus to your charisma checks and you're a bearded individual, check out Beard Sorcery, link in the description. Use my promo code to get 10% off. Shilling all aside, let's get right into this tier list. All right, here we are at my tier list for casters. Again, this is not, is the class good or bad? This is how easy is this class to build and play in general. So if you are newer to Pathfinder and you want to be a caster, maybe take something B tier and above. If you're a veteran player and you want to try some more intricate classes, the D and C tier may be for you. But heck, if you're brand new and you just want to jump into the deep end and really get into some of the crunchiness of a class, grab the more difficult ones. All right, so right out the gate, Psychic. I feel this is one of the most difficult to adapt and play and build. So you have your subconscious and conscious mind that you have to select. These are going to give you different powers, different cantrips, and different ways that you play your Psychic. On top of that, you have a mechanic which is unique to the Psychic called amping, where you spend your focus points to alter your cantrips to do different things, and that can all create very intricate play styles. So Psychic, not the easiest to pick up, super powerful, very thematic, lots of fun, but again, just not simple. B tier, Witch. So the Witch is powered by a patron, a entity of dubious and unknown origin, and this is one of my favorite changes in casting that happened in 2nd edition, is not every class is locked into a spell category type. So before, if you were a witch, you had access to the arcane spell list. You were an arcane caster. That's all there was to it. In this edition, based on your patron tells you which casting type you get. So if your patron is a divine being of some nature, you get access to the divine spell list like a cleric. If your patron is a spirit of the elements, you get access to the primal spell list like a druid. I just think that's awesome and a lot of fun and very creative. So the Witch lets you kind of do that. B tier, because the Witch, all of their spells come from their familiar, so you're going to have to really manage a familiar. You don't have to, but you should be role-playing in a sense of linkage with your patron and whatever they're after, and it's just a little trickier to put this all together. There's a couple very distinct paths of feats that the Witch can take. So yeah, I just think they're kind of middle of the road, not the easiest caster to play, but a lot of fun. I also think there is a ton of room for GMs to really enjoy the Witch and homebrew new patrons and things like that. So if you've ever homebrewed a patron for a Witch, I'd love to hear it in the comments. S tier, Bard. I put the Bard up here because as long as you can play your Bardic Inspiration, maybe pick up a healing spell and have a damaging spell, you're going to be an effective bard. Now, the bard can be super in-depth, and you can make them very complicated, but I think to accomplish the core function of the bard, as long as you're inspiring courage, or I forget what they changed it to, honestly, but if you're inspiring courage, you have a healing spell, and you have a damaging spell, you're going to be a successful bard. It's not too hard to put a bard together. It's very similar to other TTRPGs, other editions. So, bard, S tier. Pretty simple to pick up and run as a bard. C tier, Magus. So the Magus lets you be a melee fighter that delivers your spells via your weapon strikes. So you're going to have to build a reasonable fighter alongside a competent caster. So balancing those stats can be tricky, balancing your equipment, picking the right spells that deliver well through your strikes, or picking the right feats to let you deliver the spells you wish to deliver. A little more complicated to put together. A tier, Sorcerer. So again, the Sorcerer, much like the Witch, lets you dip into whichever spell type your bloodline relates to. So if your power comes from a familial relation in the distant past to a divine being, you're going to cast divine spells like a Cleric. If your lineage and bloodline comes from something arcane in nature, you're going to cast like a wizard. Picking your bloodline is going to give you access to different spells and different powers, so that can be a little tricky, but overall, pick the spells you want to cast, pick the bloodline that modifies that to the best of its ability, and away you go. Pretty simple to pick up. B tier. I put Wizard down in B tier because of the nature of preparing your spells. Each day, you have to pick the spells that you're going to be able to cast. So you have to, have an understanding of what's happening ahead, what kind of spells you need to load up, and that can be a little challenging. You could, if you're not really prepared, pick all the wrong spells, be useless to your party. It does take a little bit more thought and preparation to be a successful wizard in each encounter, social or combat for the day. So B tier for wizard. S tier, Cleric. So a great change that I thought was amazing in 2E. Lots of people, lots of people complain about being the healer Cleric. Like, oh, I always have to be the healer. I don't want to be the healer. I'm a Cleric, but I'm not a healer.
They've saved my life, and I've saved theirs. Because I'm a really good Cleric. Did you know that I do that now?
I did not.
I can heal people, Mom.
That is incredible.
She can heal people. She is able to.
Second edition gives you a set amount of slots that can only be heal or harm, depending on your deity. One or the other, sometimes you can pick both. But it gives you spell slots to simply do the healing. And then you have your other spell slots to do other cool Cleric stuff. So it's real easy to be a successful Cleric. Load up those spells, pick anything else you want, be able to heal your party, do the job of the Cleric, and then still be able to have fun with your other spell slots. I think it's really hard to have an unsuccessful Cleric because of that change. The archetype of War Priest can be a little more challenging because you're dipping into a melee front, but still, you have access to those fonts. It makes it really hard to not be a successful Cleric. Druid, I put them in A tier. Druid's pretty straightforward. You pick your oath. It's not an oath. You pick your, I forget what they call it, but your order. You pick your Druidic order, and the order kind of decides which kind of stereotypical archetype Druid you want to be. Are you going to be a shapeshifter? Are you going to have a companion? And that's really the only big choice the Druid has. You have access to a spell list. Much like the Sorcerer, you're not a prepared caster, so pretty easy to jump in as a Druid. D tier, Oracle. Oracle was tough in 1E, didn't change that in 2E. You're balancing curses which give you negative effects to be able to do cool stuff. A lot of people complain about the flow of the Oracle. I have always enjoyed the theme of it. I've never actually played one, but they are pretty complicated to put together, and because you're penalizing yourself as part of the build, it can be pretty tricky. So D tier, Oracle. C tier, Summoner. You are focused on bringing an Eidolon and powering it up. There's a lot of intricacy to that, to getting a good built Eidolon and still being able to be successful yourself. Plus you're managing having a companion plus yourself for your action economy, so a little bit more complicated to put together. That is the end of my tier list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below if I'm way off on any of these, or if you have any great experiences with these classes. Like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and you guys have a great time on your 20-sided adventures.